What's up, everybody, and welcome to BIOS3 Raw TV. Well, you guys must have already heard that I'm going to be collaborating with Jason Blaha from Ice Cream Fitness about young people and gear use, because I feel like Jason and I both get our message across really well, but for some reason it's getting lost on the younger generation with what we're trying to say. And the only thing I can figure is the younger generation is picking and choosing what they want to hear and not listening to the whole message that we have to say. Now, Jason mentioned that I got an email, and I shared the email with him because it kind of shocked me a little bit. And it was a young kid, about 19 years old, who wanted to go on trend to lose fat. He's like 30% body fat. Doesn't resemble a bodybuilder, doesn't look like a bodybuilder, doesn't have a bodybuilder frame, can't stick to a diet, can't stick to the training, but he heard on my video and Jason's video that trend burns fat, and that's what the pros are taking. This kid wants to be a pro bodybuilder. Now, let's just start off by saying, Jason also mentioned that there are people that will start using when they're younger, because this kid actually mentioned, well, isn't it better that I start younger than older? No, because, I don't mean to burst your bubble, but you are not pro material. If you are training at 19 years old and you've been training for a year or two, you know right away whether you're pro material. It's apparent instantly. And you don't even have to take any drugs. Your body just develops. You have the right bone lengths, the insertions, the way the muscle bellies look, all that stuff. And if you're going to be pro, you're not going to be 30% body fat. Those guys don't get 30% body fat. Genetics don't allow them to get like that. They're naturally lean, naturally muscular, and have the right insertions and stuff. So now, right off the bat, that tells me, no, you should not start trend for any reason. Another reason you shouldn't start the trend is because you can't stick to the diet. You can't stick to the training. You can't eat the protein. You can't do the things you need to make the drugs work. And as Jason and I both mentioned already, you can't I can guarantee you can't stick to that regimen, poking a needle in and out of your body over and over again. It's not going to happen. That takes more willpower sometimes than eating the meal. When you have something sore and you're trying to push a needle back in the muscle again, if you can't eat 10 ounces of chicken 5 times a day, you're not going to get that needle inside of you to go through that. The new generation that's coming up, much like Jason and myself are part of the old generation, have their kind of way of looking at things, way of doing things, but they seem to not respect the generation that came before them, which is us. Now, we respected the generation before us because there was no internet, there was none of these books or anything that's out. You couldn't get steroids online, you couldn't just order them, you couldn't get mail order, you had to get them from somebody at the gym, and you had to gain their trust, and you had to gain their respect, and you had to bust your ass for years before they would give you anything. I had a friend of mine who I grew up with who was 2 houses over from me my entire life, and obviously he was taking stuff, and I asked him, I said, I want to go on steroids, can you give them for me? He just looked at me and said, I don't take steroids. He goes, I do a lot pull downs, and I eat this. He gave me the whole big runaround because I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have the dedication. He was in the gym training constantly before he ever did his steroids. So finally, 2 years later, I got in the gym and I had blown up on juice. Now, this is like 5 or 6 years into training, and he kind of smiled at me and he said, you finally got what you're looking for. And I said, why didn't you, I asked you. We were, childhood friends. Why didn't you just tell me? And he said, I hadn't earned my spot in that circle yet. I wasn't ready. I hadn't paid my dues. I wasn't consistent enough with the training. And they're not going to let you into this small circle of people doing illegal things unless you are ready and are worthy of it. So you have to prove yourself first. Nowadays, all the kids have to do is go online, search, I want to buy steroids, and they can order them and have them shipped to their house. So there's no more of that paying your dues, learning, respect, none of that stuff. It's all gone. So now it seems to be, well, I don't need to do this. I can just do this and it is a shortcut now, whereas to back then, you did have to build up that base, you had to have the time training, you had the mental maturity enough to not be a dick to the people around you when you went on it, and you appreciated what was happening and you knew what to expect, and you had a close bunch of guys that would take care of each other when they needed something. So if they were coming off, they needed Clomid, one guy had something, the other guy didn't, he would hook it, it was a whole network of things, whereas opposed to nowadays, just random people on the internet, and it's very impersonal, and they just don't look at it as something that is as big a deal as it is anymore. Now it's just commonplace. Anybody can take steroids. And the early start thing, I agree with Jason 100%. If your endocrine system is not fully developed, you can screw yourself up. Is it guaranteed to screw you up? No, but if you take that chance and roll the dice and it happens, I guarantee you will not be happy with the outcome. You will be pissed, and you're going to blame steroids, you're going to blame the internet, you're going to blame people that told you to do them. You are not mature enough at 19 years old to take the responsibility that you fucked yourself up and man up and say, I screwed myself up, now I'll deal with the consequences. You're not going to do that. I'm telling you right now, you're too young. Now, as far as young guys doing the starting, I had a friend in school in high school. This is going back to 93, 92. And it was common knowledge he was on them. And everybody in his family was kind of tall. He was like 5'3". He stopped growing. Now, some people are like, oh, does, Lee Priest, he's short because his parents are short. No, I think that the drugs had something to do with Lee Priest, too. At 13 years old, he was probably taking them because he was beating men in men's divisions bodybuilding shows. So I don't know for a fact, but I can tell you this. If you're winning men's divisions at 13, you're probably taking something if you're that good. But Lee stayed at like 5'3". My buddy stayed at like 5'3". Coincidence? Possibly, but I don't think so. You can draw the parallel because there are many steroid users that started early who are short. They're under 5'5". So there's got to be something there said that it shuts the growth plates off and you're not going to grow taller. Now this guy, again, today, I haven't seen him in years, but last time I saw him, he was still 5'4" or whatever he was. He had just lost all the muscle because he doesn't use them anymore. So is there danger of screwing yourself up? Yes, it's very real. That's why you wait till you're done growing before you take them. Alexei Lezakov is a Russian bodybuilder. This kid's a young kid. Google him, Alexei Lezakov. He'll come up. Now, at 16, he was winning men's divisions, and it was apparent that he was probably on something already then. But this goes back to what Jason says about having the potential to become a pro. Like, instantly when you saw this kid, as soon as he started training, pro potential. Now 18 years old, 19 years old, he's 270 pounds, thick as a brick, strong as an ox, round muscle belly. He's one of the best in the world already. Won the Arnold Classic in Ohio as the heavyweight champion. He's won the world championships. He's won so many things that for him, it outweighs the good, outweighs the bad. He's in Russia. What would he be doing if he wasn't training? He might be working a regular job. He might not be. Who knows what he'd be doing? But the bottom line is, it was able to thrust him into the spotlight of international fame as far as bodybuilding and get him to the next level where he's got contracts, he's making money, he's got a great life. But that was his road to get to where he needed to be. That's not the majority. He's 1 in a million. That's not the majority of people that are out there who are asking these questions, these 18-year-olds who want to get their pro card. Everybody thinks they're turning pro, and that's just not a fact. You don't have the genetics, you don't have the willpower, you don't have any of the tools in place already, and you're trying to go on gear. The last thing I want to touch on for now, and I'm sure Jason will agree because we've talked about this too, is the amount of drugs you guys are taking in these cycles. I get people sending me their cycles, and I don't give advice to cycles, so don't send me your cycle because I'm not going to tell you what to do. But like 500 milligrams of tren, 600 milligrams of testosterone, 100 milligrams of anadrol, and they weigh $185, and they look skinny fat. You do not have real drugs. This is another reason why these high dosages are being seen nowadays compared to when we were doing them back in the day, because the gear is not the same. It's not pharmaceutical gear. It's underground shit that's underdosed, and the people making it may not even know that the powder that they're using is underdosed. There's no way to test the powder. So they get the raw materials to make it, and it comes out, instead of 200 milligrams, it comes out 50. But they put 200 milligrams on the label. Now this guy thinks he's taking 400 and he still looks like shit. So be aware that, the guys that are taking all this shit now, they're going to the beach that still look like they're barely taking anything to work out. It's because you are barely taking anything. You're getting screwed gear-wise, and you're spending money on oil. That's what you're getting. So be aware of what's going on out there, guys. Don't be so quick to jump in there and start the juice, get my pro card, do this, do that. Pro card is not something to be taken lightly, trust me. It's not something you just go like the DMV and get a license and say, oh, look, I got a license to drive. Took a couple classes, I'm good to go. A pro card is something that's earned through trial by fire. You will pay your dues. You will go through blood, sweat, and tears. You'll be in the gym on your hands and knees, puking in a bucket. You'll be at home crying because your joints hurt. This is what it takes to become a pro, not a needle, not, sitting there in the gym friggin' talking to your buddies and your towel top going with your headphones on going, hey, I'm going to turn pro. If I had a dime for every one of these guys I've seen, I'd have $1 billion in the bank. And if I had another dime for everyone to turn pro, I'd only have like 10 cents in my hand. BIOS3training@gmail.com. Leave comments down below. Thanks for collaborating with me, Jason, from Ice Cream Fitness. And you guys can see these videos that we're going to go back and forth and discuss some things that I think that the younger generation should pay attention to. You guys may or may not, but, what you guys decide to do is up to you, but at least it's not on us, and we'll put out the right information. We're out.